Welcome back to the Built to Scale podcast. Do you know Max? Yeah, I'm talking about Max Kramer. He's got an interesting story that I want to share. You see, while he was looking for love, he started a little venture as a dating coach for men. And get this, it quickly grew from no followers to over 1 million followers on social media. He then realized the real money wasn't in the front end. Now his company, Kramer Media, plugs into brands in the info, supplement, and ecom space as their white label coaching division, converting fresh buyers into $5,000 high ticket clients before they even have a chance to forget they made a purchase. I had the chance to sit down and talk with him recently, and it was a fascinating discussion. We talk about sales teams, SOPs, the monkey brain problem, and why Max's biggest fear isn't AI. It's repeating the same mistake twice. Subscribe if you're serious about scaling. Drop a comment if you like what we're doing here, and share this one if you know someone who needs a back-end engine that prints cash. So, if you're sitting, relax. If you're at the gym, pick up the pace, because this episode uncovers the back-end play that most brands are completely ignoring. I'm your host, Shmuel Hirschberg, and this is the Built to Scale podcast. Listen up and let's start scaling now. Awesome. So my guest today is Max Kramer, the founder of Kramer Media. He's a seasoned pro in the digital marketing space, and it's a pleasure to have him on the Built to Scale podcast. Max, welcome.
Thanks for having me. I'm happy to be here. It's fun to do podcasts. I used to do a lot of podcasts for dating when I was doing the dating advice offer, and it's fun to be on podcasts now to talk about the business side of things. So thanks for having me and trusting me to give some good info here.
For sure. It's my honor. Why don't you tell us a bit about your origin story? Talk about that dating app, was it?
No, it wasn't a dating app. It was dating advice. It was coaching. I started back in 2012 in the digital marketing space because I started a coaching brand to help shy men be able to get a girlfriend. And so I started that. That was a whole journey. I mean, I still do it a little bit. I don't do any of the coaching anymore. It still kind of runs in the background. It's really like 2% of my time these days, if that. But yeah, no, I started doing that for over 10 years, and I gained a lot of experience and wisdom in the how do you market an info brand? How do you build a coaching team? How do you build a sales team? How do you scale coaching? And it was, I mean, I could probably write a book of all the stories of ups and downs of business, also the stories of, working with different clients over the years. And I mean, we've gotten guys great results too. I mean, guys have gotten, married from our advice, and that's been super rewarding. And then kind of the journey into, well, if I don't want to do this dating advice thing forever, how do you keep going? And so naturally, just over the course of learning everything and then eventually moving to slowly helping other dating coaches scale their offer, and then slowly moving from that into the health space. And then it's like, wow, we could just do every space that has coaching, because we know how to scale coaching on the back end and we know how to do it for dating. It's really the same idea and the same concept when it comes to other niches, other verticals. So back in about 2020, that's when we started expanding and realizing, oh, we can, work with other companies to help them build their back end, because we did it successfully for 10 years.
Okay, yeah. So at what point did you realize the bigger opportunity wasn't just in the dating coaching world, but more in the coaching world, helping other companies in different verticals?
Well, what happened was I was always connected to one of the bigger dating advice brands out there. It was this brand called The Social Man, which I don't think they even exist anymore. But at the time, they were at their peak, and they were running ads to buy their dating advice course. And I was connected to them, and it was really weird. But just one night, I just couldn't sleep, kind of thinking about business, that happens all the time. I'm always thinking about business before bed. Not the best time to do that, right? But I was thinking about stuff, and I thought, why not? I was like, this company doesn't have a coaching brand. Why don't we just do their coaching for them? And now I just remembered I came up with this because we asked them if they could send emails to their list to promote our coaching. Okay, so my brand is called Trip Advice, the dating coaching brand. So we said, hey, can you send emails to your list? We'll give you an affiliate commission. They said, yeah, for sure. Well, we just made no sales. And I thought, okay, why did that bomb so bad? And I thought, well, oh, that's probably because they're not fans of us. Why would they coach with us when they're on an email list of a company that they bought their product? They want to coach from
Right.
them. So
Yeah,
that's
we
when I was
talk
like,
about that
well, why don't we
a lot.
just
Yeah, we talk about that a lot just in terms of affiliate marketing and email marketing through, of doing affiliate marketing on email marketing. And it's a hard play because if you're not the brand, right, and they have no connection to you, it it's very hard for an email copy to resonate with those readers.
exactly. So then I came up with this idea of white labeling, which is funny. It's not, I didn't invent this, but it was just something that kind of came to me. I was like, oh, well, why don't we just act as your brand? And then we got on the phone with them and they thought, well, why don't we just try to connect with these people faster than email? Why are we waiting to email them? Let's connect with them even faster. So then we figured out a way to get in touch with their customers, the moment after they buy. And then it worked. It's like, oh wow, okay. So
Amazing.
now we're your coaching division. And that was back like 2020, and that's when it kind of blew up. And I was like, okay, we could just do this for everybody.
Love it. So you reduce the friction because you're essentially their an extension of their brand, and you
Yep.
reduce the time to market because you're just going and making a phone call right away.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, getting on with them right away. And we're their brand from the moment they get on the phone with us on the sales call to the moment they're being coached. We're representing their brand the whole way. And yeah, that just works very well. So we just replicated that across every vertical. And now I've been in the coaching space for over a decade. So I just have connections and ways to get coaches and find really good coaches and then build a sales team. So now my whole company is all about building a bigger sales team and finding the best coaches to deliver coaching so we could help people with their back ends that
Yeah.
don't want to do it because it's a lot of work. I mean, it's an insane amount of work.
Yeah. And how did you get into the dating space to start with?
The dating space was more of a personal story where I was just shy with women and I was in my early 20s. That was 20 years ago. And I was, trying to learn how to meet women, attract women, get a girlfriend. And so I kind of went through my own metamorphosis, I guess you could say, or evolution of becoming a guy that could just be more confident and less shy. And I became really interested in that world of psychology and I guess mating and how men and women come together. I just really love the material. I love implementing the material. I also saw that at the time it was a lot of kind of pickup artists doing really creepy, weird stuff. And I was like, I don't want to do that. And I was able to figure out ways to attract women more naturally and building confidence and building real self-esteem than doing kind of sleazy pickup artist magic tricks. And so
Very cool.
I found that there was a lot of guys that wanted to learn that too and didn't weren't trying to be pickup artists. Just guys who just wanted to get a girlfriend. What can I do to get a
Hmm.
girlfriend and just be a greater version of me? And so then I started helping guys and started the business that way. So everything's been very organic, which is cool. I never woke up and said, "Oh, this is what I should do one day." It's all flowed naturally as part of this story of my life in terms of
Yeah.
business.
Yeah, as I talk with entrepreneurs and business leaders, I'm coming to realize that a lot of success comes out of personal issues or personal challenges. And people kind of just like said, there was no solution to help me. I'm going to get up and I'm going to make it. I'm going to fix this problem, right? I see an issue, I'm going to go out and I'm going to fix it. And that's just, I think, very powerful because you just probably have this passion about it that someone who is has no skin in the game and is just looking to make a quick buck, that they just don't have that.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. I mean, that's kind of what I've heard too of different entrepreneur stories. It's just all about fixing a problem that you see. I never really knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur, but once I was, it just like clicked. It just clicked. It's funny because I have so much passion and I work so hard. And I look back at my life. I was looking back at my life recently and I thought, I don't remember ever working this hard and loving it. I did fine in school, but I didn't like school. It was just hard for me to, get the best grades. And in college, I did okay. I kind of just by the last 2 years, I just didn't care anymore. I just like was over it. Then I went to LA. I wanted to be in the entertainment industry. I wasn't really working hard there. And it's funny because like it's like all my life, like I worked hard enough to get by, but I don't have like a history of like always like overachieving. And then all of a sudden I became an entrepreneur, and I look back at, day one, I was, 15, 16 years ago being an entrepreneur. It's like, wow, that is when I don't know what you want to call it, my soul like connected to like what I needed to do, because I'm a whole different person when it comes to business. I'm like working constantly, loving it, trying to overachieve in every way. And I was like, I never was like this in school, but this is a part of my personality. It was like confusing. It's my part of my personality, but I don't remember this being a thing growing up for me. And I think I just needed to find what clicked. And then when it clicked, it's like, oh, this is what really lights me up.
Yeah, it sounds like there's just a fire inside that's just burning that you are an entrepreneur. So was there anyone in your life growing up that you could look back and say like, "Oh, this person wasn't an entrepreneur. I should have, taken notes from him." Or maybe in retrospect you can say I did, unbeknownst to, my teenage self. I actually was learning from this person.
There was no one that I was really learning from. I'll be honest with you. I didn't even like I read some books in my 20s and in my 30s, and I'm still reading, things to this day. There's no I mean, I can tell you that I kind of looking back, I see that entrepreneurship does run in my family, and both sides of my family there was some sort of entrepreneurial venture going on to some degree. Not to the extent that I'm doing it now where it's become kind of like this massive thing. But yeah, there was no one specific. I don't have that kind of story, unfortunately, of like
Okay.
a mentor in that
But
in
there
that
was
realm.
this entrepreneurial
Spirit.
entrepreneurial drive in your family.
Yeah, and I never even and it's funny enough, I only recognized that after the fact, not during, not before, like, oh, my grandpa was an entrepreneur, my other grandpa was an entrepreneur, my grandma was an entrepreneur, my mom had some, entrepreneurial ventures. I got to do it too. I think it was just maybe it's in my DNA. It's like all of a sudden it kind of happened, and I go, oh, you know what? Wow, I kind of come from a line of this. I
Mhm.
guess this is part of it. I don't know what that is. I don't know. I do think when it comes to entrepreneurship, I think we're all, like, depending on your level, I guess, we're all a little cuckoo, because I think that there's something in our brain that allows us to take on more risk. I think people who are really afraid of risk or very careful will never become an entrepreneur or won't be a successful entrepreneur, in my opinion. And I think there's part of me that's a little bit like more risk tolerant, which has allowed me to do like when I look back when I was 26, I kind of go, wow, I can't believe I did that. Like that was kind of crazy. Like I just quit my
Yeah.
job, and there wasn't like Uber or DoorDash where I can make, I was just like making no money and starting this business. I go, that was crazy. Glad I did,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
yeah.
If you're risk adverse, entrepreneurship is not the career path. But it sounds like you kind of weren't forced it, and that probably also gives you more passion and more pleasure in it. That was something that it just came from within. You said maybe it's in your DNA or who knows what, but the fact that you kind of just got there and then you had that personal origin story, it sounds like from what I'm hearing that this path was kind of just like, forged naturally, and that could be why you're so successful.
Yeah, yeah, it could be. I'm just grateful that it found me and I found it. And, I only hope that everyone can find that.
Yeah.
Entrepreneurs or not, it's an amazing feeling. It's like finding the love of your life. You're like, oh, you finally found that, that person that you're meant to be with. It's like I'm soulmates with my passion or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's very cool. And I can say I've never been bored. I mean, there's never been a moment of boredom, or it's like it just keeps on getting more and more exciting. So
Amazing, amazing. And I want to just get into a little bit more about what you do in terms of that high ticket coaching. But I think first, I think for listeners who are unfamiliar with this concept, what is coaching? People hear, oh, Oprah has a coach. I once heard a story about LeBron James, how he has a layup coach, and someone asked him once. He said, "What? You have a layup coach?" And LeBron, if I'm quoting it right, he said, "Yes. Of course, I have a lab coach." And the person said, "Why? Well, why do you need a lab coach? You're LeBron James." And he said, "That's why I'm LeBron James, because I have a lab coach."
yeah,
So
I need to steal that. That is amazing. I never heard that
yeah,
one. That's great.
yeah, yeah. So tell us
That's
about a
great.
little bit about coaching. What?
Yeah. Wow, you're getting me to think real deep here. So I feel like now I'm going to say this and I'll be able to kind of take this with me and even say it better in the future. But so for not being prepared and kind of zooming out of like, what is coaching? Coaching, I believe coaching exists because it's really extremely challenging, maybe even near impossible, to be able to see all of our flaws and all of the things that we're doing, I guess, well. It's hard to look at that with the self because of internal reasons, because of literally you are just you. You cannot be outside of yourself looking at yourself. It's hard to be, when I said internal reasons, it's kind of hard to be fully objective and honest with yourself. So, and also you are just one personality with one opinion. So there might be another way to look at what you're doing with someone who can look at things in a different way. Also, you're not necessarily an expert in something if you're trying to learn something. So there's all these different reasons why it's good to have someone on the outside to look at you to see what are they doing right? What are they doing wrong? They're not you. There's no emotions. They can be completely objective. They can be completely rational to be able to help you level up. Plus the idea of they might be more of an expert than you are. They probably are just because they've studied it. They've gotten the result themselves. And also there's accountability. And I think that's one of the biggest reasons why I just don't see AI taking over coaching unless I'm thinking too small and not outside the box. But, it's kind of hard as a human to be held accountable by a robot than it is another human. For example, if you're on a coaching call with a weight loss coach and they say, next week you got to go to the gym 3 times versus maybe AI is saying you got to go to the gym 3 times and you come back to your coach, there's this internal sting that happens when you got to face them and say, I didn't do it. Versus AI, you don't care. They don't have feeling. AI doesn't feel anything. It doesn't, it's just ones and zeros. So you're like, oh, okay, I don't care. But it's like that, almost like that judgment. Like it's harder to let down that other human. So anyway, coaching is the ability for someone to get you to level up in different areas.
Okay. What areas are we talking about? So, originally you were a dating coach, but now like what areas have coaches?
The biggest areas that have coaches are going to be in health, in business, and in relationships. So we call them the big 3, right? A lot of the internet marketers know those 3 because those are where the biggest pain point lies. Everyone wants to be rich or have money. Everyone wants to have love or sex, and everyone wants to be healthy and live longer. So those are the main areas of coaching. However, you could be coached in, anything you want to get good at. So all the sports in the world have coaches, right? We just talking about that. It could be getting coached in. We have survival coaching. So maybe that's an area that you're trying to get good in, survivals. We have, I'm trying to think of the outside the box, quitting smoking, quitting alcohol. You might have a coach for that. So anywhere in your area where you're looking, in your life and in an area where you want to level up or get results or make a transformation. So it's a transformation from you becoming better at something or improving your life in some way. And again, that can still be sport, skill, hobby, or any of the big 3.
Okay. And this is all online. So people are coming into a funnel, they're seeing an offering, and then they're purchasing this for an online coaching.
Correct. So they have purchased either a course, a supplement, or some sort of ecom product or gadget. And so they've bought one of those 3, and then we accelerate them or upsell them to a bigger package to get the result that they're looking for faster. Because when you get a supplement or an info product or an ecom gadget, you're typically, utilizing something that's going to get your results a lot slower. So coaching will get those results faster, plus accountability help you stick with it, right? Maybe you buy a gadget, a course, or a supplement, and you just don't do anything with it. You don't even take it. You just spent money for absolutely nothing. Coaching holds you accountable to make sure that you get that result.
Okay. Yeah. And then that front end, that first sale of the coaching, whether it's in the health and wellness space or relationship space. So that is not coming with any personalized one-on-one coaching, right?
You mean the front end offer?
Correct. Yeah. Are they getting like a personalized coach that's going to reach out to them and hear their issues and answer their questions?
Yes. Once they purchase the front end product, they get to get on the phone with a sales rep that is
Okay.
going to answer their questions about what it is that they're going through, deep dive into their situation, and then eventually offer them the opportunity to do coaching. I like to, it's an upsell, but I like to say, it's just kind of saying like, here's what we got, not forcing anyone into it. Really, kind of low key. It's like, hey, you book this call, you're going to learn some stuff. We got the results. Do you want it? Yes or no? And then they invest in the coaching program where they get a one-on-one coach. And that's a thing too that we do that we've not seen a lot of brands be successful at because it's a lot of work, but we're willing to put that work in, is to be able to scale one-on-one coaching. It's so much easier to scale group coaching. So group coaching is when, X amount of people, anywhere from 2 people to infinity, are on a Zoom call and they get group coached, which just means that there's a coach there answering some questions and helping out people all at once. And then people can listen in and kind of, hear what's going on. And we have an element of that, but we don't sell that separately. We only sell, you're always going to get a one-on-one coach. And the reason why we do that is because we believe that that's the best way to get results.
And what's the like the price points here for these offerings?
Right now it's at $5,000.
Okay.
So
people
$5,000
are spending
one-on-one
$5,000.
coach.
So then in terms of the numbers, like in terms of meaningful revenue, so you don't need thousands, tens of thousands of customers, right?
Correct. That's why it's the back end, right? It's a funnel. So you'll get a percentage of people from the front end converting to the back end coaching. And then, you don't need a lot of sales to be able to increase your bottom line.
Okay. And it's a one-off payment, or it's a subscription model?
It's not subscription, it's one-off, but we do offer payment plans. So we have different ways to do payment plans for people who can't afford the 5,000 up front, or they don't have the credit card to do it. So we offer them payment plans. We also have, BNPLs like Affirm, Klarna, things like that.
Okay. And then how long does the whole program last for?
Most of our programs are a year long. So they get 12 weeks of one-on-one coaching, and then they get a full year of group coaching. Not all of our programs have that. There's like, we're testing out new ones every week. Like right now we're doing a quit smoking offer. There's not really yet. We want to implement it, but once we get things off the ground, then we'll, build a kind of a group coaching program for that. But right now we have group coaching for the health space in terms of fitness, losing weight, dating, relationships, making money online. So most of our offers, we sell it at this package of, hey, it's a year long, but the main kind of value is that 12 weeks where you're getting that one-on-one coach.
Oh, okay, cool. So in terms of just scaling this, right? If you have, let's say, 1,000 buyers, right? How do you double it? How do you go about, your coaching programs to, keep new customers coming in?
So that's going to be, well, there's two answers to that, really. So you got to remember, I do nothing with front end acquisition. So new customer acquisition, I don't do anything there. We partner up. So my company partners up with other companies who already have customers. So the way I scale my business is I just keep making partnerships with people who have offers, who are selling something.
Like affiliate marketers.
It could be affiliate marketers, publishers, brands, anyone who's I don't know if it'd be affiliate marketers, because affiliate marketer, they have to own their own offer. So they'd have to have their own offer. So we partner up with the actual creators of the thing that they're selling, whether it's a gadget, whether it's a supplement, GLP-1, Nutra, or it's an info course, video course, something like that. So that's who we partner with. So that's how I scale. And then, the way that we partner, we let the companies do whatever they're doing. So they're doing what they're doing the best, is they bring in their front end customers, and then we just focus on the back end. So we allow those companies to be able to scale, because for some people, it's really hard to scale if you don't have something on the back end that's higher ticket. If it's can be a coaching program or selling more of the same thing, whatever it may be, or a live event or something like that. So we allow that opportunity for companies to scale.
Okay. Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about customer psychology, because we just mentioned these products are on the pricier side, right? We're not talking about an impulse buy here, talking about $5,000 for a coaching for a year in a particular topic. It's a big expense. So how do we get past the pain points? How do we get people that don't know us to become loyal followers? What can you tell us about that?
One thing I learned in marketing a long time ago from, if you remember Eben Pagan, he was a big marketer. He still is. I haven't really seen him do much anymore, but one of the things he said to me that always stuck out is regarding trust. If you can explain the problem to your customer better than they can, they trust you because they feel really understood and feel like they really are talking to someone who gets the problem. Imagine this, right? Obviously, we have trust in doctors because they've been accredited and all that. But you go into a doctor's office and you're like, oh, I got this thing on my hand and it's kind of hurting or something's going on or this is happening with my knee. And they go, okay, we move it around a little bit. Oh, yeah, it hurts when I do that. Okay, let me look at it. Okay, cool. Okay, here's what's happening. And then they start just explaining everything that's going on and why you're feeling the way you do. And you're just like, yeah, this is why I go to the doctor. These guys, they know it all, right? They're the experts. A similar thing happens whether you're on a sales page or a VSL, or maybe you're on a sales call with one of my sales reps. And we know the pain points and we understand what every single one of these customers is going through of why they want to lose weight or why they want to get a better relationship or why they want to make more money for themselves, why they want to quit smoking, whatever it is. And we know the questions to ask. We know their situation and we built a program that solves the exact problem that they have. And so when you have the thing that solves the problem that they are saying, right? You're not even putting words into their mouth. They're telling you exactly what's going on and why they're struggling with they can't, lose weight or whatever it is. And then you have a program that just kind of hits all those pain points. They'll spend, right? I like to say they'll invest because you've pitched a program. Now, we work with a lot of different brands. So, some people literally just bought the supplement and never heard of the brand before. They bought the info course and they never heard of the brand before. We have some companies that, oh, well, it's people who are on Instagram. They built this relationship with them. So some sales are easier than others. Some people are coming in a little colder than others where they're maybe not a loyal fan, but still they have a problem and they're talking to someone who can tell them they can solve it. And then we tell them what we do for them because I take pride in our coaching programs. We have the best coaches, we have the best programs, and we explain it to them and then we drop the investment. Yeah, some people's like, wow, that's a lot of money. Of course, if they don't have a lot of money, that could say that to them. But also a lot of people are like, wow, that's kind of a steal, right? So 5,000 maybe can sound like a lot, but when you explain what this transformation is going to be and how we're going to support you, and it's a year-long program, and you hit the features, and then you talk about the benefits of the features, and the reason why you get a one-on-one coach is because they can be there for you like throughout the whole thing, and it's going to be a custom program to make sure you get results faster, to make sure that you're getting the result. Then a percentage of those people will buy and have no problem spending that kind of money if they truly, really want to solve the issue.
Uh-huh. Interesting. Yeah, that's really good. And then in terms of like building these brands, are you parlaying like one coaching program into another coaching program to kind of build your personal brand, or is everything just always in, being built up in coaching? Let's just say coaching A, coaching B, coaching program C. Are you siloing those companies, or are you actually like working to kind of like cross-pollinate?
If I think I understand what you're saying, there is no cross-selling, cross-pollination. Everything is kind of separate. So let me explain. I might have a coach who's my weight loss coach. He might be working and coaching leads from several different brands, right? Because it's just white label. It's the same product, but he can work with anyone. Doesn't matter if it came from brand A, brand B, brand C. It's the same type of person who needs the same kind of help. However, once we get a lead from a brand that we work with, from an offer that we work with, we don't put them on an email list. We don't sell anything other than this coaching to them. And if they renew and they want more coaching, then they get more coaching. And we haven't played with this yet. Maybe in the future, we might sell them. Like, let's say someone wants to lose weight. They lost weight. They loved our coaching. We go, oh, we have other types of coaching too. Like, do you want to learn how to make more money? Do you want to fix your relationship? And so, yeah, maybe in the future, we'll sell that to them, but the commission still goes towards the person, the company that sent us that lead, if that makes sense.
Okay.
But anyways, we're not even there yet. So the whole idea is your lead, the brand that sends us the lead, they get credit for anything we sell to them. But you got to remember, I was actually just on a call recently who was someone who was asking about this. We're the back end. So we're the bottom of the funnel where they've already spent the most money. So yes, we make renewals and such, but we don't really have an ascension model past K, at least not yet. Because past 5K, you're going into like quarterly meetups, in-person masterminds. That doesn't scale as easily. And it's just a world that we're kind of not really interested in getting into. So, the final sale kind of happens with us. And once they do a couple coaching programs or they renew a couple times, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much the end of the customer journey.
Okay. Yeah. So in terms of the coaching, so you're not looking for in-person masterminds or let's say networking events or conferences.
Not really. Not really. And this could all change, and maybe we do that in the future. It's a little harder to scale that, honestly, because that's just a lot more management and a lot more expenses. And it's
Okay.
not impossible. It's just kind of not where my focus is right now. And one of the core missions of our company is focus. Is okay. In order to really get let's get really successful, like beyond successful at being able to just scale this first coaching offer.
I
And
love
then
how
we
you
can
say
go from
just
there.
focused. Focus is your mantra. It's you just want to stay in your lane and excel what you're good at. Earlier in the conversation, you mentioned how you're up late thinking about business and stuff. What are the kind of the stuff that you're thinking about that worries you in the next, let's say, 12 months in terms of, something that's, is it AI? Is it a strategy that you need to implement or something like that you think is going to be super important that you as a marketer and an entrepreneur need to get really good at really fast.
That's a really good question. The first thing that comes to mind is nothing external. So maybe I'm being naive, but I'm not sitting here kind of worrying about AI or getting ahead of the game with anything technological wise or external wise. I mean, we've kind of always figured it out, and it's kind of hard to solve a problem that doesn't exist yet. So we'll solve that once it comes. So my main focus is how do I make sure that we continue to not make the same mistakes we've always made? So it's more of like an internal thing. So I don't really have a lot of like fears or things I'm scared of, but I always know it's about not repeating the same mistakes. So that's what I'm really focused on the most. And we run into that every day. I mean, really.
Okay.
It's about, oh, okay, we're in the same position where we have the same situation, let's say with one of our sales reps, and we were here before. So we got to remember, are we going to make the same mistake we made 3 months ago with
How
that
and how
past
are
sales
you
rep,
how
or
are
are we
you
going to fix? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and how are you categorizing that? Like in terms of, I'm not suggesting I doubt you have like, a wall of shame in your office, but how are you dealing with that? Like in terms of making sure that if there is a mess up, like or there's an issue that, we don't want this to happen again at this current moment. How are you making sure and implementing that gets documented?
Systems. So
Systems.
systems. So we have tons of operating procedures. I mean, for everything. But then it's about sticking to them, right? Because it's easy to kind of go, oh yeah, we have this, but you always say to yourself, maybe this is a different scenario. It's like your monkey brain, right? It's like kind of wants to veer off from the system that you've already created. I'll give you an example because this is a little bit like we're kind of in the weeds here. For a salesperson, let's say, okay, when we started hiring salespeople, we started to scale that. We got very excited when a new salesperson made a sale. So excited, we're like, they're hired. That's it. They made a sale. They proved it themselves. They're hired. And we did that. And we hired like 3 or 4 salespeople off of that mantra. Like, they're hired. They made a sale. And like all of them were terrible. We ended up having to fire all of them. So we made a SOP. It's like, okay, well, how do we hire a salesperson in the future? Is it 1 sale? Is it 2 sales? Is it 3 sales? How many calls do we give them? Do we give them 10 calls, 30 calls, 100 calls? How
Like a
long
batting
do we give
average.
them? Yeah, exactly. What's the show up rate that they should have or the closing rate they should have to say to us they should be hired? So we came up with that. Details unnecessary, boring details of whatever it was. And just recently, I went back to Monkey Brain. They made a sale. Oh man, they're good. I'm excited. I want to hire another salesperson. It's exciting when a new salesperson makes a sale because every new salesperson you add to your business increases your revenue. And then I had to catch myself. I go, no, we've been here before, Max. This is not the proven way. And it stung a little bit because you're like, I really want to just do what I want to do. But no, you got to kind of almost become a slave to your SOPs. It's like, you created this. We're not trying to make mistakes in the future. And so then I followed that, and it's gone a lot better because it's like, oh, there was a person who made a sale and they never made a sale again. They weren't worthy of being here. They were not a good sales rep. And then we had some sales reps that finally did make, those 2 sales, 3 sales. Okay, we hired them for good. Now they're here. Of course, it's not going to be perfect every time, but at least it's not going to put us in that old position that we learned from not getting, trigger happy to hire anyone who just kind of comes in and makes us sales. It's a lot of those little things in all the different systems in our business that we're always trying to, learn from and build and optimize and make better.
Yeah. Do you would you put more stock in, let's say, like quantity or quality? I know obviously every business is different, so we don't need to get into the nitty-gritty of what your company's goals are. But I remember being at like a seminar where the presenter spoke about the quality dial and the quantity dial, especially when it comes to sales teams. So where are you on that map?
If I had a
100%.
dial,
Yeah.
yeah, I would dial it more towards quantity.
Okay.
Yeah. I think our whole business, probably another core value is volume. So of course you can only go so far, right? It's like if you go so far to quantity and there's no quality, you're not going to win. And this is the way we do business. We have found more success in being a little bit more towards the quantity end of things than the quality end of things. I'll give you an example back to salespeople. You could build a sales team where every single one of those salespeople are rock stars and the conversion rate is through the roof, right? You could do that. We have found more success where we hire more people. Some are going to be rock stars. Some are going to be just okay. And of course, the ones that are very poor, we fire. We found that with leads too, right? With leads, we have a lot of leads that come in every day. You can go full quantity, open up the floodgates. Everyone in the world gets a call. That's tough. That makes it harder to scale a sales team. And also,
They'll be
just you get
sitting
on the phone with a
around
lot of,
waiting for a long time to get that, creme de la creme lead, which
right.
will be easy to close.
That's the other end of things. That's let's just filter extremely hard and no one can get on a call unless they fill out a 15 question application. You know what happens then? Then I don't need as many salespeople. What if my salesperson gets sick or wants to go on a vacation, which they should be able to do that and have a normal life? Now I have no salespeople working for 3 days. Now guess what happens? We make no revenue. So we have found the balance to be more on the quantity, more leads, more closers. And we found that has made us more revenue. Now, is it harder to manage? Technically, but if you have the right SOPs, then everything falls into place and you don't have this overwhelming business that you're running. So that's why we go, okay, we're going to go quantity plus really, really strong systems and procedures.
Amazing. No, that's really good. I mean, I think that when it comes to the quality and quantity dial, obviously, like if your leads team is not making enough closings and stuff, you got to like up that quality dial a bit and perhaps lower the quantity of leads that are coming through. But yeah, in terms of scaling, obviously we want to try to keep that quantity up, but like you said, have enough of a success rate when your sales teams is on the phone and making these coaching deals happen.
Yeah, finding the balance is really key. And it took us a couple years to find it and testing and going to each direction, going full in each direction and finding out where should the dial be? So that was, that's like where if a business owner came to me and asked advice, like I couldn't tell them like, this is what you should do. You kind of have to test it in your own business.
Amazing. Yeah, that's awesome. It's great advice. I really enjoyed this conversation. This has been super insightful. Let me ask you a question, Max. How can listeners find you and hear more about your coaching programs and the like?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I'm guessing a lot of the people listening are probably business owners and entrepreneurs. So if any of this seems interesting to you, you want a back end, you need a back end in your business. Even if you're like, I'm not even sure if coaching would be a good back end, I'm always open to a conversation. And even if it just becomes, where we become contacts in each other's, virtual digital Rolodex, reach out. You can email me. My email is max@kramermediainc.com. And that's with a K, K-R-A-M. mediainc.com. And just email me. We can chat and see if, see what makes sense for you, if that's something you want to do together and increase your
Amazing.
back end.
We'll make sure we put that email and the other contact info in the show notes. So if you're listening, please be sure to look at the show notes and you'll find all that information there for you. But yeah, thank you so much, Max, for coming on the Build to Scale podcast and making this episode awesome.
Yeah, thanks for having me. And I just want to say you very good questions. So I appreciated being here and chatting with you today. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thanks for listening to the Build to Scale podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to subscribe to the podcast so you never miss a conversation about what it really takes to build and scale in today's market. For more information about Build to Scale and how we help companies grow, visit buildtoscale.co. If you have suggestions for future guests or topics, send us a note at podcast@buildtoscale.co. We'd love to hear from you. Until next time, this is your host, Shmuel Hirschberg. And remember to keep building, keep testing, and keep scaling.